And I knew that she had encountered God in a way that was causing a lot of people to, like, ask questions, be curious, be hungry, be offended, like, just every kind of a reaction you can imagine. And I didn't fully know how I felt about it, but I, was like, wow, this is probably God. Cool. And then there's one night where she was across town. I was at home in bed. And she was at a friend's house, maybe your house. Yeah. And you guys were praying, and she just felt the Holy Spirit come right here. And she felt him ask her, why have you turned your flame so low? And the way she explains it was that if any human had asked her, she'd be like, are you kidding? Do you see the flames around here? I'm being, like, attacked because my flame is so high. But it was God. So she said, Lord, forgive me. Like, I thought it was high. And she felt him explain to her, like an old-time lantern, say that the fire I've put in you is hot, but like an old-time lantern, you control the flame. And because of the reactions and the discomfort of people around you, you've chosen to turn it down a little bit to make everyone comfortable. Turn it up. And so then he began to unfold the story of the 10 virgins and how there were 5 foolish and 5 wise, which she had always seen as like 5 church, 5 world, but began to see it's all the church. And the lack was the 5 who had more oil, which is intimacy with Holy Spirit. And that in that story, Jesus is prophesying half of the church don't know him intimately, and so when he comes, they won't be ready for him. Right. So she starts crying out, "Wake up, church! Wake up, church!" And
I was feeling him so strong that like I couldn't move. It was beautiful though. It wasn't scary. It felt. When my mom finally felt it, she's like, is this what you've been talking about? She described it as like the lead blanket they use at dentists before they do the x-rays, She's like, I can't move. It feels like a hug, So I was just feeling the weight of his glory on me. And I heard him say, you need to know what makes my presence come and what makes me go. Okay? And so then I'm driving and I'm crying out into the night, praying and just yelling for the church to wake up. And thinking about that, had that not happened, and really had I not decided to say yes, there's no way that we would be meeting, or any of the miracles that have been done would have been done through this tiny vessel. Do you know what I mean? Because I really was, when I look back, God knew what I didn't. I was definitely turning my flame low because it was just so uncomfortable, to not have approval. I lived for approval. And so it was really, really uncomfortable, and I probably would have just been like, well, I'll just have deeper devotions with God in the morning. You know what I mean? We'll just like be excited that he's real, but like not make people feel bad and like they don't know him. You know what I mean? So continue, please.
So that's happening, and then across town, I'm at home in my bed, and at midnight, Shi-Anne burst through my bedroom door, and it was so vivid that I was convinced that it was actually happening. And she starts shaking me in my bed, saying, "Wake up, wake up!" And she goes, "Wake up! You need to know what makes the presence." Oh wait, is that ahead?
Where you just said how it's like the Holy Spirit is here, he's here, God,
yeah,
whatever, and you just realize,
yeah. So she starts shaking me, saying, "Wake up, wake up!" And I look up and I see that I realize it's a dream because she has a lantern, and the flame is so high it's going through my ceiling, and my house isn't catching on fire. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is a dream. Because if this was real life, I wouldn't have a house anymore.
She had not heard about the encounter.
No.
I mean, nobody had heard about it.
And it just happened. Yeah. And so I look up, and she's in a white gown, and she has this flame, and she looks at me, and she says, "You need to know what makes the presence of the Lord come and what makes it leave." And immediately the dream ends, and I'm in my bed, like, stuck, because the presence of the Lord, and this had never happened to me before. I didn't even really know that it was his presence, except that, like, I had this, like, my mind had no idea what was happening, but my spirit knew God is in my room. And the only way I can explain it is the air was this liquid gold, and I knew God was here. But I couldn't move because the presence was so weighted that I couldn't move my arms, and I just was like paralyzed in this awareness and knowing that God was in my room. And I knew, like, through all of that whatever, I knew that the Lord was saying that whatever was happening in her life, as crazy or extreme or over the top or whatever I decided to think about it and other people thought about it, I knew through this that the Lord was saying that He, the God of the universe, was in this encounter and in these teachings, and He was telling me to listen. And I mean, since then, it's been a whirlwind of 5 years of like the fire and refining and sanctification and trials and temptation and failing and Him delivering me and Him saving me and healing me, and I think like this like love bubble and where I am now of like I just want to go back to that of like you need to know what makes His presence come and what makes it leave, is because I feel like I'm just really gaining a revelation of His sovereignty and of His purposes.
Yay.
And so much of my nature has always been ingrained to like work hard and make it happen and succeed and I'm just like finding that I'm not capable of anything, and I also don't have to be.
Come on, man.
Because He performs His word. I was not looking for Him when He burst through Shi-Anne into my bedroom. And it was not my goodness that caused any of it or has sustained any of it. If anything, me trying to then take it and be good has almost sabotaged it. And then in His mercy, He's like, okay, you think you're good. Die. Okay, I'll come pick you up. Okay, now let me do it. Oh no, she's trying to do it again. Die. Okay, let's do it. No, I'm not really.
Mercy.
That's His mercy.
Because otherwise you'd be a permanent prostitute for God.
It's so true.
You know,
It's so
God
true.
on you.
For Him.
Yeah.
Prostituting Him for Him. So I'm just like, I'm so in awe because the whole point is just knowing Him.
That's all. Yeah.
And I really am so safe to never take my eyes off of a continual awareness of like what makes His presence come and what makes it leave.
In every moment.
In every moment. And worry makes it leave. And striving makes it leave. And fear of rejection makes it leave. And ambition makes it leave. And jealousy makes it leave.
Yeah.
And competition makes it leave. So those things just don't have room in my life anymore. Because I don't want Him to leave.
Jesus.
But like humility makes Him come. And obedience. And affection. And simplicity. And His word. And trust.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Whirlwind, that's a nice